Welcome to the wave. My name is Malu, and I am your host. This is our first official episode, and we will be talking about mental health and how to give a positive attitude. So today's guest, we have Mobita, and she is a positive enthusiast, and she will be the one to explain that best. As we get into this journey, we will be ready to learn something new and how mental health can connect with so many areas within our lives. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so tell us about yourself. Who is Mobita? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, Movita is a third culture kid, meaning an individual who spent a significant part of the development years in a culture other than her parents' culture. I can develop a sense of relationship to different cultures while not having ownership to those cultures. And I think that's what made me creative and more positive. I know there have been some negative sides to me being a third culture kid, but honestly, majority are positive and made me conquer a lot of things, a lot.
I think that's a first for people to hear the term culture kid. I think that's also new to me. But what I want to find out is, um, when you define yourself as a culture kid, has that really impacted you to start your journey as a positive enthusiast?
Yes, and yes, it has impacted me positively because, I mean, mixing with different cultures, that means like you're different. You're not really going to entirely fit in. And sometimes the response from people who don't share the same beliefs or cultures as you, it can be quite stressful. So with that, I had to be positive. I just had to somehow find a connection with those people or with anybody in general. And that's what led to my positive journey. And I mean, I didn't even know about being a third culture kid until university when I mixed with a fellow third culture kid who gave me more insight to it. And that's how it all began.
Wow, and how did you cope mentally, knowing that you're not going to fit in entirely with certain people of different cultures? How exactly did that impact you mentally? How did it make you feel? What were your thoughts like when you were going through what you were going through at that time?
Well, that takes me back, way, way back. Because I only realized, like, in grade 8, schooling here in Zambia. And that's when I realized, like, oh, okay. It hit me when people started laughing at me almost at everything. How I'd speak, how I'd read, how I'd... almost like... That's when I realized okay, now am I that different that the way I was pronouncing? Like, I didn't even feel like this was my country. I only felt it more when I was back in Zambia because that's when I was receiving more mockery than I've ever received. Like elsewhere, people like would mind their own business, but here it was a bit different. Like I just remember feeling bullied. Like I remember having an episode where I could tolerate because I was taught to have patience, but I think because I've never experienced so much laughter in my life where someone laughs at me, I think that's where I got so sensitive because I remember when I was even like really young, for me to even learn my language, like I think I'm sensitive to people laughing at me so much. I was. Now it's like whatever, but like when I was younger I was very sensitive, and I think it was caught on when they were trying to teach me to speak my language, and when I would try to pronounce some words, I couldn't or I would pronounce it in a funny way and then they would laugh, and that's when I realized, and I would shy away or something, and that's how I think that's where it all began. But then it hit me hard in grade like 8 when I realized that, oh, I'm sensitive like that when people laugh at me. But then I had to grow some thick skin eventually. But that's eventually, you know how that happened.
Yo, yeah, that's definitely going to get you like to build some thick skin around it. But I feel like what the people's message was a feeling of telling you you're different. You dig? I feel like they're saying, nah, she's different, and they didn't know anything about that. I don't think they knew the right way to react to it, because people, I don't want to stereotype. I've come across this actually. They don't know how to welcome anyone that seems different. They all want to seem the same, and I think there's a problem with that. But when it comes to that, and it comes to the way you were laughed at or bullied, did it like impact you in any way when it came to like fitting in with different people while you were here?
That's true. You could be right on that. But yeah, trying to fit in with different people, I did make an effort here and there. I just don't remember how I did. But I do remember it starting off negatively, actually. Now that we discussed this, I think it didn't impact me positively at that point. My reaction was not positive, because I remember one time I got so furious, the teacher asked me like, can you read? And I didn't want to, because I felt like they're gonna laugh at me again, because I didn't see that as a good thing, as seeing me different or anything like that. So I was like, they're gonna laugh at me again, why should I read? But I was bold enough to still read, because I had this respect towards adults. So like, if I'm requested to do something, I just do it. So I read. Then I just hear some giggles in the back, and I think at some point when the teacher left, I don't know what happened. Someone said something again, and then like I pushed the table in front, and I got so mad, I kicked the table rather, and then like I stood up, and I'm like, I don't remember what I said, but I was yelling. I was on top of my voice. And I was like, I didn't choose to be like this, okay? I didn't choose to speak the way I speak. I remember saying all that stuff. I don't understand why people react like this or treat me like this. It's not right. And then I just started feeling like a bunch of emotions, and I'm crying, I'm angry. I just wanted to choke someone at that moment. I just wanted to show that I am powerful. And that's how my like, as a woman, I started feeling like all kinds of like anger. It's like, I've never felt like this before, never reacted like that before. And I really wanted to look for the person who was. And the next thing I hear someone call me a savage, I'm like, who called me a savage? And I really wanted to beat that person up at that moment. And I just walked out of the class. And then I don't know, because my sister was a prefect at that time, so I don't know who told her, or if it was, I don't know. And she came to my class, and she was like, can you guys stop? Like, I think she lectured them and stuff, and then that's how I just had to calm down at that moment.
Wow. I won't lie. Your story has it's moved me a bit, because I was picturing everything. It's sad that people would go through that length and do those things, be extra like that. I think people need to learn to have manners. Otherwise, these anger issues are not easy to control. And I can relate, because I haven't been bullied much my whole life. I think I was bullied once, and after then I just stopped taking anything from anyone. I think they figured it out. I only got bullied when I was small. I was small and I had a big ass head. I was big. I won't even lie. And I still think it's big. So in case you meet me in person, whoever listens to this and they're like, it's you, yeah, it's me, my head is big. No pressure. Anyway, so yeah, I was small, I had a big head, I was looking like a lollipop. So I was playing with like 5 of my friends. There was one guy and there were like 4 girls. So one of them kicked the ball really far, and I was running. I was at full speed. I was running. But while I'm running, I'm looking back at them, and I think we're in conversation or saying something. Next moment, I know I'm hitting the ground. My head was the first thing to hit the ground. And I could feel like when my head hit the ground, it's like I sent an impact to the whole school. All I could hear was ting, that thing you hear when someone has slapped really hard. That's what I heard. So as I got up, I could see almost everyone laughing, including the teachers. So when it comes to anger, the anger I felt in that moment was I don't think I've ever felt any anger like that in my life. Because at that moment, it was like, okay, I've been taking it as a joke. I'm a kid, but now I'm tired, Joe. Like, relax with this. So when it comes to anger, people need to know that it's not easy to control anger, But for you, like, when you look back at it now, how have you been able to, like, control that anger?
Wow, you see, like, hearing someone else's story, it gives you empathy. And I think you have empathy. I have empathy because of our experiences. And I think many people need to find, even if they've not experienced, even if they don't have experience, they can learn empathy. That's one of the things that's one of the things I'm trying to impact people with also. But coming to your question, how I've dealt with anger. For me personally, it's just the word of God and prayer. But before I was truly saved, how did I used to deal with this thing, eh? How did I used to deal with my anger? Wow, okay, let's talk about this. When I was learning to deal with this anger, I invested in working out, the gym, but that only came later. Yes, I was going to the gym. I remember in 2013, that's when I started going to the gym, even though I was actually still big. I am still thick, so yeah, I don't think I would really become a size 0 or whatever size the world wants us to be. But I was very fit. I was actually an energetic person. I loved dancing. I just tried to channel my energy and things. But when I was angry and I didn't want to use my anger on a person, or I was learning to just react in different ways. So there was working out. I've had moments where I decided, let me learn karate, kickboxing. The worst was punching walls. There was a time I just started punching walls. Because I think in my head, I felt like people thought girls were weak and that we can't do anything. Like, I've just had this alpha female. Like, it's just really crazy because... And then years later, that's when I decided, okay, like, channeling it with the word of God. And that's, when I got saved, that's how I started reading more of the word of God, which says, have patience and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hey, thank you. I think, we both have empathy. We're both empaths. And I think you learn about how to be it when you start to realize that everyone is actually going through something, and you just need to be patient, just like you talked about the word of God. It just teaches you to be like patient with people, even though they react in a funny way. You just have an intuitive way of understanding why they're acting, and then you just act differently to what they thought you were going to react like. So for me, that's where I learned empathy from. And I've heard you mentioning something about working out as well. Working out, I feel like, working out does help. It really does help. And I do watch your videos, by the way. And when it comes to, or maybe you would like to tell the people what exactly you mean when you say body positivity.
Right on. So yes, thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate that. I really do. And body positivity. Okay, before I explain that, it's had a lot of backlash. Many people have been against the term body positive because they feel like it's promoting people to be obese, or people to, it's not even just about obese people. There are people who are slim, who want to maintain. Okay, yeah, that's why it's not even about obese or promoting obese. There are people who, okay, let me talk about the modeling industry. Way back, I don't know if it's still happening now, but way back, I was aware that models would have to maintain a certain weight, like maybe size zero, and for that, they do all kinds of things to their bodies, which was negative or would impact them negatively. Like some would end up being anorexic or bulimic, having to be bulimic, just to maintain the size zero to please a company and to make money. And that's where body positivity comes in, to encourage people to love their bodies and to encourage industries to appreciate all kinds of bodies and not always specify that someone should look a certain way and that's considered beautiful, or someone should be a certain weight and to be considered beautiful or to be considered brand worthy. I think that's where people go wrong, and that's where I don't even understand why there should be a backlash over the word body positivity. I mean, so many people are going through so many things and having to put so much pressure on themselves to just fit into society's or brand industries terms, because at the end of the day, you find the same people who are suggesting that they'll change like a chameleon and be you can tell now curvy girls are the in thing. Like, for example, because of Fashion Nova, now people are working and striving to have curvy bodies, wearing corsets to actually be more curvy or something like that, you see. And it's like these people can change in a nutshell, and you're trying to please these kind of brands. No, then that's why body positivity comes in, to encourage people to be proud of who they are and work. If they want to change themselves, it shouldn't be because someone said so, but maybe for their health or something like that.
Right. When it comes to body positivity, right? Let's give an example of you and your body type. You're thick, right? So let's say you're going about your body positivity and somebody comes along. Do you think compliments really matter? Like, for example, someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, I think you're really sexy." Do you think that really impacts you mentally? Or it doesn't really matter because the body positivity journey has in itself everything to cater for what you need, that you won't even need other people's compliments or anything? Like, how exactly what exactly would you say about that?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I've never been asked that before, I think. Okay, no. Compliments, my mom has always taught me that don't let them get to your head. So I would say no. If someone comes, I had standards. If someone comes at me like, "Oh, you're sexy," to be specific, I was like, okay, what is this person's motive? Why is this person calling me sexy? Why? So I wouldn't really take a compliment, like, especially the words of the compliment. If someone comes at me with sexy, especially a long time ago, I'll be like, what's your motive? If someone says you're beautiful, I'll just really say thank you, and then that's it, moving on. I appreciate compliments, but they don't get to my head. And okay, if it's a negative wait, what am I saying? Negative compliment?
No, there's no such thing as a negative compliment. But from what you've said, the words that are coming from the compliment actually carry impact. So if someone walks up to you and says, "You're beautiful," you take the compliment and say thank you. But don't you think that's a bit too cliche?
Kindly clarify what's cliche. Being told I'm beautiful. Yeah, let me understand that part further.
Well, for a guy personally, I won't talk for every guy, but for me, it's like if I ever say you're beautiful, well, not every time. I mean, sometimes I actually do mean it. It most likely means I'm just looking at your appearance. And do you think that's just enough to say, okay, I appreciate your appearance? Do you think it's okay for you to go on with that thought throughout your life to say someone complimented me on my appearance as a girl? Do you think saying you're beautiful is like enough? And for me, what I mean by cliche is like it's too predictable. It's just like a way into the conversation. Like it's a way into the conversation with you, and then I can take it further down wherever I plan to take it. Meaning there's still motives behind that you're beautiful. So, like for you, do you think it would be enough to just have a compliment to say, "I think you're beautiful"?
Well, you are absolutely correct. It is cliche. But I mean, maybe there's some genuine folks out there, guys out there, who might not know how to start a conversation, and then complimenting is the only way to start the conversation, and I'll be like, fine. But small talk, funny story, I was telling my cousin, I was like, if I have someone in life and then one day they actually want to propose with a ring, they shouldn't do it in this cliche manner like cake, or not that I'm extravagant. For me, I want to see how creative someone can get, because I'm sort of like ambiverted, okay, like an introvert, extrovert. So I want to see less small talk and more like big talk. Big talk. Like, let me see how intellect you get. Of course, don't make me look dumb though, but like a lot of people do that a lot. But yeah, let's see how you can pick my brain. Yeah, pick my brain, you know, treat me like math treated me for several years. So, okay, let me not be too extra about it, but I'm kidding. But yeah, it is cliche, and it's not wrong to compliment, but I just feel like it becomes meaningless if it's just for attraction or something like that.
You ought to be treated like math. That's a lot of angles. But anyway, back to the point. I think what you basically said, it really matters how, even if you say someone is beautiful, like what else goes on after that, after the conversation, is what's going to like make you feel more at ease, especially that you said you're an ambivert. So yeah, I feel like it's all about the mental, and it just doesn't take a simple "oh, you're beautiful" to impress someone with a stable mindset, with a strong mindset, with a body positive mindset. It takes a real mental connection, and I feel like now I'm on my last question. Yeah, I hate to go to the two last questions, but yeah, how do you think, or do you think disappointments are something that's planned?
That's funny. Exactly. And that's about making efforts, you know, in your approach, in getting to know someone, and most importantly, communication. I feel like we lack a lot in communication, you know. I can't read your mind, you can't read my mind unless we communicate and state our motives, our differences, and all that stuff. Well, and that gets to your question, like, are disappointments planned? I would say yes and no. For someone who's been disappointed a lot, some of the disappointments I've had were not planned. And then some of the disappointments I've had were planned. It depends on the scenario, it depends on the situation, I guess. Yeah. And if I explain further, maybe it will be so long. But disappointments aren't planned. For example, if you have an interview for a job and you don't get a job, you get disappointed that you didn't get the job. It wasn't entirely planned for you to not get the job. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. Maybe they already had someone in mind before you came in. It's all about perspective, to be honest. So I would say no, and also yes.
I think I agree with that. I think it's all about perspective and how you look at the situation. Yeah, that's actually something I've learned right now. Yeah, thanks for that, by the way. Now to the last question. How would you encourage someone to be more sane inside their own body and inside their own mind? What advice would you give them so that to help them stay within themselves, how to be comfortable with yourself?
You're most welcome. Well, to stay sane, firstly, never be too hard on yourself. And being not too hard on yourself means don't suppress your feelings, emotions too much, because I've been told I'm too emotional, I overthink, when at the end of the day I realize that I handle my emotions pretty well by allowing myself to feel what I'm feeling and then get over it and not suppress what I'm feeling and continue dying inside, and then I end up struggling more. And one thing someone needs to realize is hiding your feelings and not dealing with your feelings or dealing with a problem will eventually, you will explode. So it's way better to deal with whatever it is, your feelings, your situation, and don't pressure yourself to deal with it then and there. You can never deal with something then and there all the time. Seek ways, seek solutions, seek guidance, pray. If you're a believer, pray. That's how I deal with it. That's how I stay sane. Write your feelings if you feel like it. Just find any means to deal with your situation, especially positive ways, not negative ways, because eventually that will just have a reaction that you might regret. In fact, just deal with it in ways that you will not regret. And that's what I can say. So do not suppress your feelings, deal with your feelings, don't run from your problems, deal with it, find solutions with it. It doesn't matter how long it will take, and then pray. That's my way of dealing with and staying sane, basically. Another thing is talking to someone, because sometimes, no one's an island. We may like to be alone, but it gets dark. It eventually gets dark in our moments of being alone, and that's when dark thoughts start creeping in. So it's important that when you feel yourself zoning out and getting into those dark moments, and in these times when you can't really physically talk to someone, make a call or text. Yeah, human interaction is important.
I've definitely learned a lot from having this conversation with you, and I appreciate you agreeing to come here, to be here and have this conversation with me. I appreciate that a lot, and I hope we can have another interview like this again. Hopefully I'll be looking forward to it. And yeah, I just appreciate having you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much as well. It's my pleasure. It's been a pleasure being a part of this. I'm really grateful. I've also learned so much in this, and thank you for boosting my confidence further. I hope you I wish you nothing but the best, and I wish you more success as well. And stay positive.
So that was it. So I hope you guys have picked up on something. I hope you guys have learned something like I have learned something. And please feel free to join the conversation. You can reach me on Instagram, Facebook, and even WhatsApp. Please feel free to have a conversation with me. Hit me up whenever. If you have something that needs direct attention, please feel free, reach to my inbox. And please also subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is the Wave Podcast. All the details will be left in when this video is posted on YouTube. Also, I'm going to leave you with a little snippet of a song, and it's Burna Boy's, and it is Burna Boy's Time Flies featuring Salty Soul. You can download the full song and the details will be attached to it. Look forward to episode 2.
Time flies like a thief in the night. We all got a story to write. So darling, jump in the ride before the train is gone. Let's take a ride.